All right.
Hey, MC117.
And I'm ProjektZero.
We are here with round 2 reviews for VPC, the Vocalist Producer Competition. There's been a little delay in our recording, but these reviews were written before the judges' reviews came in, so that we haven't been influenced by that. This is straight from the heart, and hopefully piercing straight through your heart, like an arrow of truth, fired from the bow of pretentiousness. Round 2 was to borrow an idea, finding inspiration in somebody else's work. So this could be the vocalist and the producer borrowing from the same idea, or each one doing their own thing. Now, ProjektZero, I challenged you last time to listen to the songs blind without reading the challenge first. I am curious if you did that.
Yeah, and my original thought was, oh hey, it's a cover round, but that quickly went away. Yeah, I definitely got the adaptation, so that was the best I could hear, was going based on what I'd heard. I remember this was VPC2, I think I was paired with Whitey Cracker.
Yeah, because this was, you did VPC 3. All right.
Yeah, this was the round that we, Whitey and I actually dropped out on. And okay, just a bit of trivia in case anyone was curious, he and I were actually going to sample 9 Inch Nails' Hurt, and we were going to try and do a track around that, but things just didn't quite line up, and that was kind of the end of it for us. But
that would with the mood of the submission from this round of the VPC.
Mm-hmm.
This was clearly the emo round. This could have been from what was it, VPC 2, Write a Serious Song.
Yeah.
There was some seriousness going on, which is not. But it was interesting to see a lot of teams go that way.
I'm liking it.
Were that you? Yeah, it was alright. I feel like, so here's my feeling, is like round 1 was Star Trek: The Next Generation, and round 2 was more like Deep Space Nine, where the average episode was a little better, but the best episodes never could compete with the best episodes from Next Gen.
Huh. I'd have to give that one some thought, honestly. Because I don't know if I agree. I think probably 2 or 3 of my favorite. I mean, these tracks were awesome, I've got to say.
Yeah, I saw you give some very high scores in production. So just to recap, people who are watching, and we'll jump right into this, I will be reviewing just the vocals. So even if the production is trash, that will not affect my score.
And I'm contrary to that. Yep, go ahead.
Yep. I was just going to say it's lyrics, it's complexity, it's delivery, it's originality, the artistry. That's all what I'm handling, just on the vocalist side of things.
Right, and on the flip side of that, I'm doing the production, the beat, all the mixing, all the composition kind of stuff. Anything in that realm is sort of my domain. Up to the interplay between the vocals and the beat, anything sort of in that domain is what I'm judging on.
Yeah, and I honestly felt like the production took a step up from round 1 to round 2, so I'm with you there. What is interesting, though, is that I took a look at our average scores that we've been giving. In round 1, your average score was a 3, and mine was 2.5. In round 2, your average score went up by 1/10 of a point, and mine went down by 0.02 of a point. So we're right in that same sort of, I guess you could call it like sort of a curve, because my average score is dead center, which I actually am pretty happy about. It wasn't on purpose, but at least it made me feel a little better about it.
Yeah, and I've been generally happy, so I'm not. I think about a 3 is where I'm feeling on these. So yeah, I agree with it.
All right, so let's jump right in
Sure.
with track 1, Children of Arkham, who gave us Thomas Wayne this time, which is Batman's dad, as I recall.
Children of Arkham, Commissioner
Yeah.
Gordon and Hush.
So this was sampling Coldplay, and now they're not actually allowed to sample the original. That was one of their criteria, that it be cannot sample the original song. This one sounded like it was actually sampling the original. I can't tell. I don't have a great ear for that, so I'll let you talk about that. But I just want to say I felt like this was about 100 times better than round one from a vocalist perspective, which, and it hurts me to say this, I still didn't think it was good, but it got real close to good at several times. It's like I wrote really almost good. There's some solid delivery, there's some good lines. There's a line in verse 2, might have fought in Vietnam, but he fought 2 tours with cancer. Answer back with buddy, Jack drinker, dirty dancer. Like, that's really smooth. I love that. The picture that it gives of this person. That's great. I still hate the Solomon Grundy voice. But I was getting into it. I was like, man, this is kind of, resonating. This is kind of letting me in. And so, like, empathy that I have developed for the track is torpedoed by the lack of commitment and sort of this weird, like, sarcasm. Oh, my dad died. Like, that's not. I don't know. It destroyed it for me. I think the track would have been at least twice as strong without verse 3. It's like draw a picture that's scribbling all over it. And that in. So I was disappointed by what I felt like lack of follow through on our concept.
Yeah. From my side, I felt a little disappointed that they doubled down on that vocal effect. And especially, I want to point this out, and it kind of goes into your domain. A lot of the doubled vocals in this track were kind of awful. And the beat itself was very, very mediocre. Like, it has a lot of things that it does right, and I was so close to liking it. I'm right there with you, man. I was just like, it's the upper end of mediocre. There's nothing terribly unique or catchy, but it does everything that it kind of needed to do. I just wasn't really feeling it that much either. I don't know. It was functional, but sort of just mediocre. That's about how I felt at the end of this one.
I think you have to say better than round 1.
Yeah, and I haven't checked, but I think I gave him a better score. I'm really hoping so.
I definitely did.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see the trajectory continue. I think this is a group that has showed a lot of potential. The skills are there, the building blocks are there. They just need to be put together.
Yeah, it just needs a little bit more polish. So I think I agree. And in the interest of keeping this moving, I'm going to jump on and go straight into the next one. We're going to Say It Ain't So.
Yeah. Tell us what you thought.
Yeah, so I actually really liked that they took the instrumental motif from Say It Ain't So, kind of played on that. I wrote the song kind of wore its influences on its sleeve, and I was totally down with that. But again, I actually wrote a lot of the same notes that I was writing about the first track, which was that it was functional, but it was mediocre. There wasn't anything done to really stand out. Other than the strength of the source material that they were kind of adapting, which was, extremely recognizable. I'm a huge Weezer fan, so, I could pick that out, but everything just didn't really feel like it was put together that well. Sometimes the vocalist felt almost flat or out of key compared to what was going on with the instrumental. And it just, upper end mediocre is kind of...
I think that's all.
Yeah.
There. The beat, it's always a danger when you're doing a song this iconic.
Mm-hmm.
This is, like anything Weezer, it's always going to be 4 chords. So, to turn that into something that's still recognizable, but more interesting than the original. And I don't think that they took that second step.
Right. Nope.
Well, it didn't go anywhere. Sing song, it felt a little, I don't know, it sounded childish to me. I liked the reimagining as a concept, but then in the outro, they just have the beat, and the beat is really simple. There's nothing to highlight there, so they're highlighting nothing. in this round who maybe is used to putting together a beat without samples. I'll touch on that later. Like, the challenge only said you couldn't sample the inspiration song. Like, you could sample something else to recreate a song.
Yeah.
Samples from other sources, and I think that might have strengthened some of these. Really low energy. It's like, it's sort of a trap because the song is about feeling really low energy. You know, as a concept, that's not bad, but it is dangerous, because then, like, if you're kind of giving that performance, then as a listener, it makes me want to slump. Listen again. Like, I wrote, doesn't encourage me to listen, rather kind of makes me want to cut myself, is what I wrote. Which is like, yeah, it's what you're going for, but I'm not going to put this on while I'm driving or working out.
Right.
In the end, I thought it was kind of middle of the road.
Yep. I agree, 100%. Which lets us switch up into something that's a little bit different, I guess, and we'll go into Danger Grove's I'm Actually Laughing.
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about this one. This was the track that I gave my highest score to for the whole round. So first of all, let's talk about song choice. So creative. I loved this pick. Very, very strong. And then the reimagining was also very, very strong. Good delivery. The ending is this really clever flip on the original where it's like, you're going nowhere, and instead he says, I'm going nowhere. This is exactly like the kind of brag rap that I like, which is, you know, it's creative, it's precise, it's on point. I liked it better the second time I listened to it.
Yep.
What was it? Yeah, I'm the champ challenger. You can't get a word in edgewise. I'm your camp counselor. You kids want to see a dead guy. Like, that's so good. That's so good. I like it when I hear a lyric where I think of it and it's like, I never would have written that. But I wish that that's the kind of thing I could have written.
For sure.
It was just strong from front to back.
So, on my end of this, I actually didn't have as much to compliment, and I'm going to say something that you're going to agree with. Jesse carries the hell out of this track. This track is all about Jesse. And to an extent, I like that. It's functional, the beat does what it needs to do. The beat isn't bad, it's actually mixed quite well. The way these drums were done is great. I actually really like the drum mixing on this track. But there's not enough in the mix or the instrumental to actually kind of draw me in. I don't know what to say. Like, it was functional, but it wasn't unique. You know, it wasn't engaging from the instrumental or production standpoint, other than the fact that it was clean, really well done. I actually gave this track kind of the middle of the road for well.
Yeah, I can hear that, but I absolutely agree with you. Jesse dominated this song.
Sure.
I saw that they won, very well deserved. I was pleased to see it. I thought this was a great showcase for him as both a lyricist and a vocalist.
Yeah.
Just really kind of gilded from front to back.
Yeah. And I want to say too, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, so when I scored these out of 10 and then halved it to go by 5 for our scores. And I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10 because it was functional and did everything it needed to do, but it wasn't like a showcase or a masterclass in production. It was just completely there to showcase Jesse. And I just... Sometimes that's just what you need to do.
But yeah, like I said, highest score of the round for me on vocals. Loved it.
Yeah.
Not a lot else to say. Let's move along to
right.
Dayton B and Obviously with Princes. Now, so I thought this was kind of a creative pick for song. It surprised me a bit.
Yeah.
But I want to say, so there's a basic test as a listener for this round, which is at the moment at which I can identify the song that you have drawn inspiration from.
Yeah.
Would I rather be listening to the original than this adaptation?
Sure.
The answer is yes. Yes, I would. This one did not do it for me.
Yep.
Vocals were... Delivery was boring. I know I'm not judging the beat, but it sounded like a Casio toy keyboard. then like sampling Fresh Prince at the end. Like, like I kind of get it because it's like we're doing like I pulled up, you know, like it feels like really mediocre slam poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one I didn't even get on the bus for this one. I was never on board with it.
Yeah, and I did the exact same thing. At first, I had the reaction, because I did these as pretty much stream of conscious reviews, and the first thing I have written down is, y'all really gonna pull some spin doctors out of the hat like that? And the next thing I wrote is, Jesus, what is this drum programming? Everything kind of went bad really quickly on this. The track is just mud. Like, all it is sonic conflicts. The drums clash against each other, the bass clashes. The doubled vocals are off beat. There's so much wrong with the EQ on this. I was like...
Well, the main vocals were off beat. Like, none of the vocals were on beat. It just sort of wandered.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I made it a minute and a half into this track and turned it off. So, I think we played through further than I did.
I listened to it, yeah. I listened to it a couple of times, just kind of to try and figure out what was going on. I don't think they posted the vocals, the lyrics, I mean. So I didn't get a chance to actually see what he was saying. But, yeah, I mean, like, both times this group has started with a very interesting concept, because this was the group last time that did that kind of like speakeasy thing.
Yeah.
Haven't progressed beyond that in either round.
No. I gave this one a really low score. I just wasn't feeling it at all.
So, hopefully this is a group that can continue to progress. You know, personally, my feeling is there's a lot of things that I'm never going to be great at, but there's nothing I can't improve in. So, that's kind of the tend to give other people.
All right. Well,
unsolicited, of course. People generally don't ask me, but that's what I tell them.
Sure.
So, but yeah, let's push on.
Why don't we go to
Bread? Me, Myself, and I. In Excess.
Yeah. Good choice, too, for them.
I thought this was a good song choice. I thought the energy was good.
Yep.
Fox could have been mixed a little more clearly, I thought.
Major thing on mine, yep.
Yeah, but yeah, my first stream of consciousness was like, what's this song even about? Like, the first listen, I couldn't figure it out. A choice that I liked was adding lyrics to a part of the hook that was originally instrumental. I thought that was a strong choice in terms of construction of the song.
Sure.
So props to them for that. I thought it was, you know, that's a very sensible choice, and I didn't think a lot of groups did it, so I wanted to call it out. And read the lyrics, and as far as I can tell, like, the verse 1 is about suicide, and then verse 2 is about yanking it, so it's kind of hard to catch a through line.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, being lonely, because like I'm lonely line. It's like, I guess those are your two options if you're lonely. Like, going out and meeting people, I guess not an option. So just down to those two. I don't know. Comet with Vomit when I was in 5th grade. You can level up a little more. There's a vocal drop in there, which I'm not sure. I think that violates the no sample rule. Original In Excess song.
Well, I mean, if they're In Excess, this whole track is like that sampled, right? Like,
yeah,
isn't that against the
rules? So this one, I felt like this one. It didn't feel like they were trying very hard.
I agree with you, man. For my notes, it bothered me how much Daimyo's vocals were just buried in the mix. Too much kind of conflict with the sample. It just kind of felt a little lazy to me. And that was pretty much all I had. I scored it fairly low. I wasn't impressed with the effort that went into it. There was some good creative choices, but the mixing was bad, and the instrumental just felt fairly thrown together without any actual care.
Anything else to say about this one?
Nope, I think that's it for me. Why don't we jump into Dangerous? Yep.
So I appreciated a team submitting a melodic entry.
Sure.
Curious to know if anybody would do it.
Yeah, let me pause too, because didn't we say this exact same thing about Moans on the first round as well? That he took a different direction and it kind of paid off for him?
Yeah, I feel like it paid off a little more in round 1 than round 2 for me.
Totally, yes.
If you're going to do a melodic entry in what is primarily a hip-hop competition, you have got to hit those notes.
Mm-hmm.
This was off-key. So, to me, that's a producer issue, right? Like, you have your vocalist's vocals to work with, and that's, like, I'm not a great singer, so I rely on my producer to correct that for me.
Sure.
That it's got to happen.
So I will comment on this because I think we're hitting a production question. What Moans is trying to do is he's trying to sing with a lot of vibrato. It's not the kind of thing you just want to like slap auto-tune on, because that would have sucked the entire soul out of what Moans was going for. So from a production standpoint, you can't just throw auto-tune on this and fix it. I actually kind of applaud them for going this direction. I just wish they'd executed it a lot better than they did.
Producer knows that, then they have to come back to the vocalist and say, "Hey, buddy, give me a version without vibrato."
Yeah, that's exactly what needed to happen, and it didn't happen. This wasn't executed the way that it needed to be.
Yeah, there's some good lyrics in here. There's a line that I really liked in verse 2. The years all hit at once like they couldn't wait their turn. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish I thought of that line, and I wish the rest of the song was as strong as that line.
Yeah.
Like I could hear it in my head. Like, you're going for this kind of Springsteen thing, this vibe. But like, line 1 is like, set my voice free. Voice should have been set less free. Voice was too free.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I want to say was like, it's weird, but it's like, if your F-bombs feel forced,
yeah,
like to me that's an execution problem in delivery. It's like, I felt like they were just kind of shoehorn a few extra in there. Mm-hmm. It's like, what purpose of your lyrics? Like, it's not accomplishing anything for you.
Yeah.
You're using whatever words are best going to be effective at conveying what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, it felt like care wasn't taken. And that's kind of my takeaway from the song.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I feel a lot of the same way. I also think there was a lot of kind of laziness in how the track was thrown together. The track didn't evolve from like a musical standpoint. Like, I liked the rock direction it went, but you just didn't change it. And about 2 minutes in, I was kind of bored of the instrumental.
Totally agree.
Yeah, nothing. They had a good groove and they just rode it into the ground. Like, I don't know. It was barely a functional pop song for me at that sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, if this was workshopped and redrafted a few more times, mm-hmm. this could be really good. But it needs to get a lot further from where it is.
Yeah, I wish they would sort of rework this and add on to it, give it a bit more depth, and sort of hammer out some of the takes and delivery on this. I like the potential, I like the direction, I just, I feel like there were a lot of execution problems in the way this was done.
Great. Let's talk about Kudos the Kid, who is back.
All right, we got Betty Rubble.
Thought?
Yeah, so this beat was kind of ridiculous, man. So it felt like a lot of Fruity Loops default synths, and then, take a trap drum sample pack and chunk it in the blender, and hey, look, I got a beat. There wasn't a lot of care paid to the mixing. Some of these synths that came in around like the 1 minute and 15 second mark just had me really not feeling it, But at the same time, it didn't feel like they weren't trying. It just felt like I felt like this track could have been done so much better than it was, and a lot of that fault was on the production end, or at least that was how I perceived it. There were a lot of issues with EQ and compression and just very general mixing things that I feel like most producers should be adept enough at doing at this point.
So what I wrote was, I can imagine hearing this song on the radio, but on a station that I hate.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's got that #1 club jam. To me, the trouble, bubble, double, rubble, stubble rhyme is not me, but I can hear, like, I would understand other people really being into it. Like some of the saws, like in the beat, felt like they were cutting my brain in half. This was good. This is a team that's been working together for a long time. I felt like it showed that these two really kind of understand each other's strengths.
Yeah.
Good delivery. Can't give full points without lyrics posted. Otherwise, I think my score would have been significantly higher. References, a lot of cleverness that I was able to hear. Reminded me a little bit of the song Let's Move by the Perceptionists, which is a song that I really like. Not quite there, but I thought this was actually a solid entry from a vocalist point of view.
Yeah. No, I could feel it. I just, there were a lot of things that weren't in place for me. Alright, why don't we go ahead and jump forward into Asian American Beauty then?
Yeah. So this was Oh My and Con Artist. Wiggle by Jason Derulo. I'll tell you something. When I hear this song in my head, like when my brain is replaying it, the beat is actually Staying Alive by the Bee Gees, and I think I like it more with that one.
I could totally hear that. Believe it or not, I love this beat. This is probably one of my favorite beats on the whole round for sure. Everything about this beat is so smooth, man.
I thought they crushed the beat. Oh My really kind of showing off a little bit. I will criticize Lex again for opening a verse with what I feel is a really subpar rhyme. In verse 1, she rhymes bragging with bad thing. It's like, it's not like, if you put that in the middle somewhere, that's kind of fine.
Sure.
But if that's your opening double, like, that's not. I feel like you can try a little harder than that. That said, that criticism out of the way, this track crushed.
It did.
What I wrote was, on my first listen, I wrote, I feel like this song is going to be well received by the community.
Yeah. I wrote, I would like to subscribe to your newsletter.
The hook gets a little repetitive by the end, so what you've got is basically, so the hook total across both is like 6 different words. And so you're going to basically be repeating that 16 times. I felt like second time through you could have changed it up a little bit, had maybe a different rhyme for like one of them. I felt like it could have been a little different, so it's not just repetitive, just over and over and over again. That said, very strong hook, very memorable, easy to sing along with. And once again, Lex gives us something that we're like, oh, I've heard this, I know what this song's about, and then switches it around. Suddenly it becomes sort of a social message in verse 2.
Sure.
Mixed really well. Slightly overpowered the verse a bit, but the writing is funny. It's smart. It's unexpected. It was the weakest of the 3 verses. Like the North Dakota line is gold. I felt like it existed just to do that line. The song needed it. It didn't add anything to the message. It just kind of rehashed verse 2. I think the song would have been a little stronger without it. That said, I thought this was a tremendous song going off.
Yeah, I've been nodding my head the entire time this is going. I can't listen to the song and not groove out to it. It's so smooth, like so nice and crunchy. Like, I was even trying to sit there and like write my criticism on the first listen through, and I was like, I just want to shut up. I just wanted to shut up and listen to the song,
Yeah, I'm with you.
There was a point where I just stopped writing criticism and said, you know what, I just want to enjoy this. And that's all you need. I was so happy with this song.
This is a song with legs. This is a song that you can listen to and you'd never know it came from a competition. You could listen to this on any compilation and it would be a standout track, I think, on any compilation. and that's really what I want to listen for. Is something that's like, this has a life beyond the VPC.
Yeah. Yeah, this could be a single. I mean, this is fine. Production quality's good. It's got its own little life. So on that note, I vote we just jump into Still Black with Jollimus and Yugen.
Okay, so I liked this song, and no one is more surprised than me to say that. But I liked the pick of Usher.
Mm-hmm.
That worked for me.
Yeah.
It's like, so there's a South Park episode from way back where they're getting a dance crew together.
Uh-huh.
Goth kids, and he's like, well, I'm so nonconformist, I'm not going to conform with the rest of the goths, and I'm actually going to do it. That's what this song choice was like to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought the voice was matched well with the beat, the confidence was so strong, don't gotta rhyme if I don't wanna, love it, chorus was good, rhymes were elementary, but done well, executed, style can make up for simple lyrics. This song has tons of style.
Sure.
Really dug this one. Team KrunkOnTitan, y'all need to holla at some Jollimus $5 money each.
And on that note,
I'm gonna keep throwing this in all my songs. Like that, I was laughing. And yes, on that note,
if you're still trying to win our $20 giveaway here,
just done gift card for 20 Amazon dollars. If you're listening to all of our videos, there's a phrase that pays somewhere in one of our videos, taken from the lyrics of one of the songs. The phrase for video 2:
$5 money. Remember that. Remember your $5 money, and that should be good for you. Write it down, add it to the list. It'll get you one step closer to getting that money.
What'd you think, Matt?
Yeah, so as for me on this one, Jollimus is such a character, right? And there are so many times where I want to like him, but I feel like I've been giving him the same criticism year after year after year, and he just doesn't change. He just keeps doing him. And I've got to respect that.
I think he doesn't care.
Yeah, Jolly doesn't give a shit. And I'm just like, okay. I respect it. I respect the style, but I'm like, I have to judge it based on how I see it. And
Jollimus is like the France of nerdcore. It's like, all of Europe, you must do this. Well, I'm not gonna.
The same mixing issues that he's always had are still here. I gave this a very middle of the road score, but a little even lower than middle of the road, honestly. There are just too many fundamental issues in the mix and the construction of the song. But that said, this was actually an enjoyable track to listen to. Right.
Yeah, like I didn't think
Go ahead.
it wasn't that it was like good, it's that it was enjoyable. This one, like even though it wasn't, I didn't think it was great, I would still go back and listen to it again.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Why don't we jump on into Penzel Automatons then?
Penzel Automatons. So this is a song I didn't know. This is apparently the song was "Bird Set Free" by Sia.
Huh. All right.
Yep. Her hair in front of her face. I know, so I'm not obligated to know what the kids are listening to. Example of a melodic song done well.
Yeah.
Now, I felt so. Everybody like Lex has a good pop voice. That's just structurally. I felt like this song was building the whole time. It was just building and building and building, and it never got there. It was building to something that didn't quite deliver on. Kept waiting for it to kind of kick in. That said, I mean, lyrically, sure, trod ground, but done well. I felt it. Like pop female on the hook, radio ready.
Oh yeah.
I wrote in my second listen through, this is exactly the kind of song that Weird Al Yankovic would put on a polka medley.
Yep.
By the way, it's I don't know. It's right in that kind of sweet spot. It's like
Sure.
A tier in terms of market. See Eminem doing "Not Afraid," but this is like way better.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Wish the beat evolved a little more, but one of the best in the emo round. I believed it. I have two. Very evocative.
Yeah.
thought they could have trimmed 30 to 60 seconds off the end and not lost anything. So let me talk about one of the smartest things that was done on this song from a song construction point of view, which is that the back half, and then after they do a verse, they do the full chorus. My camera's fuzzing out, but because you haven't heard the first half of the chorus, as a listener, you don't know that that's the first half of the chorus. You just think it's some, kind of chorus intro.
Yeah.
They do verse 2, and then they do the full chorus, and then you realize it's actually the full thing. That is smart.
Yeah.
Getting bored. It was done really, really well. So many smart choices on here. I wish I had more time to kind of go into them and break them down, but this is a good song to learn from for other writers.
Absolutely. Yeah, and sort of on that note, to sort of pick up and throw in my piece, I wanted to sort of call out what I think this is an improvement for Sean Solo from round 1 to round 2. I definitely felt like there was a lot more going on, a lot more was showcased on his side of things, and Lex didn't feel diminished at all, in my opinion. The synth work on this track, I had to applaud it. I was a big fan. Again, I was with you that the track probably went a little longer than it needed to. I had a suggestion or kind of an idea that I thought would kind of help it. If you took the melody that Lex is doing in the chorus and sort of added that as a synth on towards the end, I mean, I'm thinking, some bells or something to kind of do that, to give it that depth at the end, I think it wouldn't have felt like it was being forced to be as long as it was. It just needed something at the end. You mentioned, female. Yeah, you mentioned a female hook. Like, it needed something else to kind of push it into that perfect category. But, I was very happy. I feel like it showed a lot of growth. It was, like you said, radio ready. I was really happy with this track.
Yeah, loved it.
Yep.
This is a team that came to play, and
for sure.
They've executed solidly 2 rounds in a row. Can't wait to hear what they do next.
Which brings us to Smile for the Camera.
Washington and Danny DeBeato. Okay, so like this, I have a hard time knowing what to think about this one. At first I thought it was Tribe Called Quest, turned out to be a De La Soul song, which, I mean, it's kind of mean letters if I say it's kind of the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing. Kind of weak. Instrumental made me bop my head.
Yeah.
Skit, then we switched to whatever that song is by the band Space. Like, this song is kind of messed up.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. It's like, it's a song about serial killing. I don't know. Like, I didn't feel good after listening to it. And there's a couple elements to that. The first is like how JV some of the rhymes were.
Yeah.
I know the cops won't try and find me. Not so grimy. Like, that's a bit of bust a move. Young MC. That's 1989 kind of rhymes. Later on, they rhyme booby fat with like that. No, come on. Like, track is kind of weird. It kind of works like from a conceptual point of view, but the track is just disturbing. Like, I guess I'm glad it was a dream, but then you have the skit at the end where you're like, oh, I'm not going to do it. But you do that skit after having already done it.
Sure.
I wish you had actually not done it. This is a song that I do not want to listen to multiple times. Feel good.
Yeah, I from the production standpoint, man, this was so good. I was nodding my head the whole time around, man. I just, the brass on the chorus was great. I loved the whistling in the verses. I liked the switch up towards the end of the song was actually like, I had a lot to praise in the way the instrumental was done. The production was good. And fortunately, I didn't have to listen to the lyrics, so I just kind of enjoyed myself, I had a great time on this track.
If this song was an instrumental, I would have been all about it.
Oh yeah. I had an easy time judging this one.
But yeah, no, this was a disturbing track.
Sure. To be honest with you, I had no idea what the lyrics were on this. I didn't even listen to them. I just kind of zoned in.
It's about like going on a Tinder date, then murdering the person.
We're good. All right. On that note, let's talk about some Shaky Devils.
Devils by Poverty Man and Made Up Producer. Okay, so first thing, clipping, ruining an otherwise dope beat.
Sure. Yeah.
About robbing Beaker's Pokeballs. So if I was an actual judge in this competition, I would have given it full marks. I mean, just on principle, stand behind that.
Sure.
The line, cracked some Canada Dries and started planning a heist. So good. That's so good. And the twist ending. Really glad that Poverty Man submitted a round 2 song.
Yeah.
He and Made Up Producer are the #1 team from going forward. I hope that he continues to submit along with Made Up Producer, who I'm confident is a real person and not a made up producer.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. Well, this was a 1 minute long song, which was pretty much nothing but EQ clashing from start to finish and mud. So, great. Let's talk about Glamour Potion. Let's go straight into Glamour Potion.
Phil Spector's, Phil Spector kind of meets the Eagles. Is what I got out of this sound.
Yep.
Made me want to dance. Jam part. It's actually really weird because the afternoon before I listened to this for the first time, like I was humming Mama to myself for no particular reason. And then they sample it, or not sample it, but they pull inspiration from it. It was eerie. It was a suspicious moment, and I think they may have implanted some kind of bug in my head. I'm going to be very direct and say the writing on this song is weak. I think they kind of go for quantity over quality. There's a few good multis, most of it very simple. There's a little rushing to fit words in. Just not particularly memorable. I couldn't tell you much about how the hook goes after not listening to it for a while, and it's just kind of rushed. But the sound is so good.
Yep.
Like, I want to hear this song. Lyrical edit of it. The concept is good. Whereas on the hook a little bit. But I thought, like, conceptually, they're right on target, executed on vision. I thought it was a really strong entry.
I'm gonna completely agree with you. Yeah, again, another great head-nodding beat. This is the kind of head-nodding beat where I'm also sitting there, tapping my feet and dancing along with it. What Klopp sort of added in there? Oh man, it's so good.
This is a great song to have on behind you in any environment. Yeah. Like, I want this on at a party. I want this on while I drive.
Yeah.
It's good for everything.
And the way the beat kind of kicks up at 55 seconds in, like, there's this extra bit of drums that kind of punches in, and it's so nice. Like, you just feel that sort of punch up in the energy. Klopp is kind of like on top of his shit from start to finish, and I'm so happy with this beat.
Yeah, I want to say also, I think Klopp and Shubs work really well together as a pair.
Sure.
Complement each other. She's got kind of this old school sound. Klopp's all about this old school sound. Like, he's even older school. Come back to this 80s sound.
Yeah.
And he's doing this like 60s, 70s sound, and it works for me. Together.
For sure. I need you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
I definitely need another beer. I'm totally empty. I need you to talk about RACROWNN, which is Rhyme Artist and Angry Crow, and their song Put a Spell on You. If you could just rant on that for a solid 2 minutes, I would greatly appreciate that. Alright, here we go.
Can do, buddy. Okay, RACROWNN, Put a Spell on You. So this team actually did a melodic cover, as I recall, in VPC4 that was a surprise favorite. Everybody loves it except for the judge that will not be named. This one, I didn't feel like it was as strong. I guess this was from a cartoon. I meant to watch the original, didn't get a chance to. Kind of wandered around the beat a little bit instead of sort of tracking with it more closely. Gotta say, another song about a murderer. Part of it, lyrics were not posted, so it was kind of hard to felt fairly. Vocalist had a real good mellow sound to the voice. The turn of it, the writing did really wow me. I felt like it was better in concept than its final version, which I think is the criticism I've been giving for a lot of the tracks this round. Yep. But I mean, honestly, if you're gonna critique nerdcore, you can say one thing that nerdcore does not lack is creativity.
Oh, sure. Explosively
creative ideas throughout the community. And so ultimately, like, everybody's got a title, nobody wants to write the book. Like, we're never going to be at a shortage for really creative ideas. So no matter how creative your idea is, it will, like, an idea cannot hold it. To follow that idea, put in the work.
Yeah.
To life. Like, the idea will not float you all the way through.
For sure.
Because there's no shortage of it. And so, whereas the sweat, the retakes, the rewrites are going to be what separates in this community.
No, I agree. I do wanted to call out one thing on this track in particular, which was how well the voice and the beat accentuated each other. And the way that the singing was done on the chorus, like, everything just fit like a glove. With the way that the vocals kind of meshed into this track. I was so happy with that. That's not even necessarily a production thing, just like the EQ spectrum of that instrumental and just the pitch that he's singing on just fit like a glove. Sometimes things just work out, and for a producer that's heaven, and I was so happy to kind of just hear that when I was listening to this track. The upright bass was totally the right choice. That being said,
I'm really glad that you have an ear to catch that kind of stuff, because I appreciate about this contest as well is, like, I can't hear that stuff, but this music is really just released to such a broad audience. Pleased when there's something that I can't appreciate, but that there's someone else who can, and that they're able to recognize it. Like, I feel like I'm able to enjoy it vicariously.
Yeah, and it's weird too, because, like, there are production flaws, right, in this track. I'm not trying to say that it was a perfect production at all, but it's just like, it's one of those things where just things lined up, you know? Right, and it worked, and I had to give this points just for that. I
haven't been able to see. I want to ask you something that's, I think, because it's really important, but I haven't noticed. ProjektZero, has your dog made an appearance in this video?
Probably, but let's get on that.
We gotta get those dog likes.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get her to. Yeah, here we go. Let me go.
Come here, Callie. Come here, Callie.
This is demographic, like, gold. Thanks for being on that.
Come here. Oh, dog interlude. No. This is gonna go on for a solid, like, 2 minutes. Callie.
Let's talk about Team KrunkOnTitan.
Callie is the best dog. Before that. All right. You can go.
Okay. Let it be entered into the record. Best dog.
Best dog.
So this is Humble by Kendrick Lamar.
Wait. Hang on. You jumped ahead to KrunkOnTitan?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, I did skip one. I skipped Swa. I apologize. Swa.
Let's rewind. We'll go to Swa. Let's do that.
How Swa Can't Stop. Doing Closer by the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was, like, out of Zelda. But it turns out I think they were covering, like, I Saw the Sign, Ace of Base, yes?
Yeah.
Which, trivia, I think was the first CD I ever spent money on.
Really?
This was a weird song. This is like the round for super stripped down beats.
Yeah.
I picked up a Wreck the System reference in there. Mostly what I wrote was that this was like really mellow for a brag track. The other thing that I noted was like, this is a song in the middle of talking about how great the lyricist is that rhymes run with up.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of amateur. The more amateur you sound, the more ridiculous it is when you claim to be the best. And the other note that I wrote was compare to track immediately after.
Yeah.
This is a song that suffered by comparison.
Fair. I didn't have that issue at all, but yeah. Alright. So when I was listening to this, right, it was so close to where I want them to be. Like, I loved the song choice. I'm a Halsey fan. Not so much a Chainsmokers fan, but like, you're so close to where I want you to be. I really wish that the producer, I guess, Schmizat, would just take the next 2 weeks straight, right, to work on learning drums. Like, if he just spent 2 weeks learning how to mix drums, God, this team could be so much better. Like, I feel like I wrote out a list. I'm like, if he could just learn how to mix like a powerful bass drum, how to make everything kind of feel organic, make the drums sit on top of the mix, learn how to like pan them out. I loved the influences.
I think this is a good time to mention that ProjektZero is offering drum mastering classes for reasonable prices.
Nope. I'd be happy to talk about it, but yeah, I'm not.
That was a complete lie.
Yeah, but yeah, there was a lot to like here, right? There was a lot of good ideas and bad execution. Again, I'm gonna compare this to the Hormones track, because again, good choices, bad execution. There was so much potential, and I just wish that you mixed Rafe's vocals a little higher up. And this team, it's not even just like this round had bad drum mixing. The drum mixing for this team has been consistently off every time that I've heard them. And so I wish that focus on fixing your drums, fixing the mix on the drums, and just learning them. And I feel like you could tunnel vision focus on that one thing and do everything else the same, and you would have a significantly better track for the next round. So that is my impassioned plea for this round to these guys.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we recorded this so deep into round 3.
Yeah.
But hopefully that's some critique that they are able to synthesize.
Yeah, if not, take it for round 4, but just work on the drums, man. It's so important. And why don't we go ahead and jump into KrunkOnTitan for you.
KrunkOnTitan with seats. One thing that I was not able to discern while listening to this song is why it's treated to take a couple seats. This idea I had was perhaps the listener is so that one seat is insufficient for their sort of dimensions, thus necessitating the taking of a second seat. Best I could do. Okay, so sit down, be humble. There's not a lot that I have to say in terms of like delivery. The delivery is so precise. The writing is really, really good. At this point, I've emptied the clip. I'd be stalling. Still got one in the chamber explaining it's hyperbolic. Like, the first time I listened to that, I was like, wait. I had to go back and look at the lyrics. I was like, alright, that's really good.
Yeah.
Precision is there. The delivery delivers. Little unnecessarily echoey. Bungie reference in there. One of the strongest entries. However, my critique of this vocalist in the past. It's like getting an email. Thing is in caps. Like all the delivery was emphasized.
Yeah.
It kind of wears out the ear.
Yeah.
There wasn't sort of pacing of the energy. Give me like what I want is I want a roller coaster of sorts where you kind of take me up and then we plunge down and we have some round around bits. You know, like I wanna be able to breathe in my head.
I think the word you're looking for is dynamics.
That's best case scenario.
Yeah, dynamics is definitely the word you're after.
So yeah, just give me more than one flavor of,
sure.
like the intensity, so that I know, like, part of a really good punching line. But if everything has that energy, like, I'm kind of missing out as a listener.
Yeah,
well,
and
that's my critique. I thought this was one of the best of the round.
I mostly agree with you. I feel like there were things that kind of held this back. There was actually some mud in the mix. It wasn't kind of as clean as I was expecting, which was weird because there were a lot of great composition choices in this track. It switched up enough to where at 4 minutes it never felt boring. I liked sort of how catchy the melodic motif is, especially towards the end of this song. Like, there are things in this instrumental that will get stuck in your head, and I love that. I wish it feels like a little bit more energy or effort needed to be put into the mixing and just sort of making the production a little bit cleaner.
This is a team that in the past has been guilty of producing like finished tracks in as little as I think 45 minutes.
Yep, and you'd never tell. And their finished tracks are better than, you know, some people's tracks that they probably spent weeks working on, but. That can't really be an excuse. Like, I can't. I have to judge it based on what it is, and this is a good track. I just feel like it needed a little bit more polish.
Push it over.
Yeah, and I liked the composition. Everything felt like it was well enough done. It needed that little bit of polish to push it from the 8.5 to, you know, the 9, the 10 kind of thing. Why don't we go ahead and jump into Book of Rhymes if you're cool with that?
Sure. Penultimate track, Go Hammer Eye. Groovy. I liked the commitment. But honestly, like, this song sounded a lot like their round 1 entry to me. I don't know, it could have been the backside of the same LP. It was longer than it needed to be. The alliteration section at the end didn't work for me. Like, I liked it as an attempt more than I liked it. It seemed too gimmicky. So the whole song creates this relaxed mood and then ends with this really fast bit, so it kind of throws me off. No lyrics were posted, so I didn't really have a chance to look at that, but ultimately I felt like it was just a little monotonous. It kind of put me to sleep. I wasn't really feeling it on this one.
I gave this track actually one of my lowest scores entirely out of the whole round, and I will give you the reason why straight away. So right, you open this song up, right, and you see that it's 5.5 minutes long, and already that's a yellow flag. I'm like, anytime I see that, does it need to be 5.5 minutes long? Like, you've got to do something, be a little epic, or, you know, have something to say to really work.
Yeah, 5 minutes, that's a commitment as a listener.
For sure. And then, right, you know, so then I'm already coming in with this question of, like, does this track need to be 5 minutes? And then I hear these strings. Like, these strings are awful. God-awful. Do you hear, like, how high-pitched and just, like, whiny? It's just like this constant squeal in my ear. You're killing me. I can't do it. I'm not. Like, there's mud in this mix. The vocals are buried. Like, I think those strings are louder than the actual vocals that Ishida's putting down. Like, I can hear this coming out of my speaker, right? And all I can hear right now is just like the strings and then like some mumble. Like, the strings drown.
I can hear the strings like through your microphone. That's all I can hear is just like little squeaks in the background.
I'm like, I can't do that. It pains me. I'm gonna cut this out actually. Like, I'm jumping to Abstract You Can't just because I don't want to listen to Go Hammer Eye anymore.
Sorry, Go Hammer Eye.
I'm sorry.
You do a lot of things that I like, but I wasn't into this one.
I'm a good fan. Like,
talk about
All right. So
let's talk about Tune on Irvings.
And this track was so good, dude. Like, I was such a fan of this.
I go talk because I love this one.
All right. So, in terms of adaptation or like, you know, wearing influences on your sleeve or just kind of like being derivative, like this was the best track of the round for what it was conceptually, for what it was trying to do and what it delivered on. This was the best execution, I think, in the round. There were better productions, there were better vocalists, better deliveries in that sense. But this, I think, was the exemplar for what the round should have been. I will say that. Like, this was the standard for how the round, you know, what it could have been. I'm trying to look through really quick. I'm like... I feel like, okay, mixing the drums higher in the mix here and sort of giving the track more of a consistent groove would have paid off a lot. I think, again, echoing, like, learn how to mix the drums higher up to where the drums are the center of the, like, the drums and the vocals should be the center of the mix, and then everything else should be a little bit under that, but enough to still be kind of groovy. And if this was there, like, this would have been a perfect 10 for me. But conceptually, this was by far the best track of the whole round. Like, I was so on board. Everything about this, the creativity, like, I don't know, I have nothing but praise for, like, the idea and the execution of this. I feel like the production needed a hand, like, just a tiny pinch of work, and it would have been, like, up in the top tier, 100%.
Yeah, EL's lyrics make me smile.
Yeah.
Like, so first of all, they're fun lyrics,
yes,
and they're funny lyrics, and it sounds like he has a really good time both writing and delivering them. Like, rap, I'm listening to someone who's having a good time with words, and that's my happy place.
Yeah.
It's no secret that he's one of my favorite lyricists. The multis are ridiculous on this. But I do have a couple criticisms, because I always have a couple criticisms. EL likes anachronisms more than I do. I didn't like his use of t'other, which is like, yes, that's technically proper English, but it kind of it jammed me out of the groove a little bit.
Sure.
But like you said, like, this executes so hard. You have, like, basically two 90s references. It's like two freight trains crashing into each other,
yeah,
and creating, like, a perfect wristwatch out of the wreckage. Like, I don't know, this ticked.
Yeah.
This is it's exactly the kind of track that I write. The lyrics are on point. It's really hot. Like, so here's what a good delivery will do, right? He has the line, "I came for the crimes, not for the culprits," which he highlights, but he delivers so, like, I don't even know what that means, but he delivers it so well. I was like, oh, what? I don't care. The "Take It Away, Max" section was not good to me.
Yeah, fair
like
enough.
That was just really basic. Like, the synth wasn't there. There's nothing got taken away.
You're right.
Nothing was moved during that section.
Yeah.
But the verse 3, can we talk about how good verse 3 was? Like, the first, I don't know how many, every bar in verse 3 was fire. The Teddy Ruxpin line had me on the ground. Like, it's just, it feels so effortless. With the preposition, though. Vincent, still learning English as second language. Preposition not correct to end a sentence with. But this was fun. It made me laugh. Weapon of choice kind of stuck on the end.
Oh yeah.
Bit too much for me.
Not for me.
I wasn't into that.
I am so.
So there you go.
I will say this, in terms of the challenge of the round, this felt like the best execution possible. Like, in terms of the spirit of this round, this is it. This is the spirit of the round.
I 100% agree with that. Top marks for challenging.
For sure. I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna pull out the scores so we can kind of. Let me just make sure we can show these properly here. All right.
Oh.
Bear with me one.
You asked me for just a quick recap of my favorites last time, so I'll ask you again this time, top 4 or 5.
Sure.
Yeah. Any great mystery, given our review.
Yeah. Let me, all right, sorry, I'm just messing around a little bit with the screen here.
Oh, good.
All right, man. So, yeah, in terms of my favorites, I'm actually gonna try and I haven't really thought about this, so I'm gonna go through it. Looking back, I'm probably gonna put the I'm so torn between Penzel Automatons and LexicOhm as my 2 favorites actually for this round. Rounding it out, yeah, Danger Grove is definitely up there. The tune on Irving's track is absolutely in my top 5. I think it has to be, but yeah.
To hear you say that, and I think this really shows, how much a song has improved by not having me on the chorus like they did last round. I just want everyone to look at how much that score went up. There and just learn from me.
See, it's totally.
So for me,
yeah.
Danger Grove was my number 1. It had, I don't think it was the most complex. I don't think it was the most much things. I think it was, but in terms of, this is what we're talking about. Like, everybody can have a creative idea, but it's another thing to execute on that idea. And in terms of execution on idea,
right,
I thought that track was so good. And then in terms of just how much fun it was to listen to, obviously for me, Tune on Irvings I loved, and then 2 was LexicOhm.
Huh. Do me a favor, actually. Are you able to look at the Google Doc? I've got it open right now.
Yeah.
But I just did a sort so that we've got our scores in order. And I'm finding these results actually really interesting. We've got LexicOhm in first place by just a tiny hair, followed by Penzel Automatons, and then Tune on Irvings in third place.
So this is just the round 2 scores, mind you.
Correct, and it's the average of yours and mine, or the sum of yours and mine.
Scoring up to a total of 5, which would be perfect, and then we add our 2 scores together for our total.
For sure. And notice too, I want to say our top 5 are actually quite distinct. Like I think you and I agree pretty heavily on the top 5.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that statement. And then overall, if you count round 1 and round 2, excited listeners, a little peek at how the real voting is going. In first place, we, I believe, still have... Oh, things just got shuffled. Doc that was feeding information from another source.
Ah. Oh, it might have been because I sorted that.
I think we'll have to leave people in suspense.
Let's...
3 teams with a combined total from round 1 and round 2 of over 15.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be Danger Grove, and LexicOhm, I believe, are the 3 teams with scores of over 15. And then right on the heels is Pretty.Good with 14.6. So
yeah, I just did a sort on that one as well. So yeah, Penzel Automatons we've got in first place by just a hair, with LexicOhm and Danger Grove right behind. Yeah.
Said it last round, but again, my favorite thing, honestly, about this VPC is how it feels like it's such a toss-up.
Yeah.
Like any team, top 10.
For sure.
And really dominate and take it home. So I think that's exciting. Everybody competing for big cash prize and creating great music. Really appreciate all the work. Like, honestly, even if somebody submitted a track that wasn't my favorite, everything. But I want to say that how much I appreciate the teams doing the work to create this music, giving it out basically for free. I know how hard it is, having done this a few times. Teams are working really hard, and I want to give respect to that. You're making music for us to criticize pretentiously.
Yep. As we do.
The artists. So, We will be back with criticism of round 3. I wrote down the round 3 challenge, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
I'm too lazy to read them, so it is what it is.
Looking forward to that, and
sure.
really appreciate getting a chance to get together with you, ProjektZero, and give people a little slice of our mind.
Alrighty, well, why don't we call it here and get this up so we can let everybody take a look. Take care, man.